What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Late Great Game Reviews. I'm your host Apollo, and this week we are reviewing Guacamelee for I played it on the PS Vita. It's a cross-buy. You can buy when you buy it on the PSN for $15. You can get both the PS3 version or the PS Vita. I feel it could work on either platform, but it feels really perfect on Vita. Guacamelee is a great game. It's hilarious. You got some really great funny characters with just amazing dialogue. A lot of great game references in there, from Zelda to Donkey Kong to Mega Man. I mean, it's a great game. The basic premise is that there's this guy Juan he dreamed of being a luchador for his entire life. And is given that opportunity when a magical luchador mask is given to him when the villain Caracas basically he kidnaps your Juan's childhood love, the princess, and it's your essential, it's your quintessential sort of, go save the princess from the villain type story. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. As I said, the characters are great. You actually get you get some flashbacks from the characters as well, like telling just little snippets of some of their backgrounds. It's pretty cool. It looks great. The world is vivid. The colors are lush and rich, and really, the art style is really nice. Yeah, feels great on Vita. The combat is very fluid. You learn so many different abilities, not just punches and kicks and throws and grappling stuff like suplexes and things like Das Boot, where you grab the enemy and kick them away. I mean, there's stuff like that, but you also get abilities where you get these mystical abilities too from your sort of goat mentor. Long story. Well, not really a long story. He's your mentor who turns into a goat, and he appears every time you destroy these mystical statues. He gets pissed about it, but he teaches you a new ability. You get you get so many. There's so many cool abilities in this game too, that help with the combat and make the combat flow even better, and also, let you get into areas of the game that you couldn't get into before. You got everything from the wall cling, or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But the wall cling, where you cling onto the walls, obviously. From to the wall run, where you can literally run up the walls. And then you got stuff where you can. At one point in the game, I'll just put it this way. At one point in the game, you're flying. You have the ability to fly to a certain extent. It's really awesome. The environments, again, are great. They're varied. I mean, you got forests, you got mines, caves, mountains, deserts, environments galore. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed the game a lot. There's even exploration stuff, like little side quests that you don't have to do. It has nothing to do with the story at all, but you can do it. Like, you can gather ingredients for the super enchilada, you can find the chicken thief, you can find the extra member of the band. There's a ton of stuff to do, and it's great. The game itself, takes about 7-8 hours to beat, and I guess I died a lot, so, but for me it took about 7 or 8. It might take, on average, I'm guessing, for a player, to about 6 hours maybe. But yeah, it's really, I enjoyed the game a lot. It's been a renowned game ever since it came out by the developer Drinkbox, and ever since it came out, it's been just renowned and just highly acclaimed by critics and by fans, and I definitely see why. Yeah. Yeah. I again really super enjoyed the game. But it did start to wear a bit thin, like with some of the traversing, like the traversing gets tricky because there's these portals that basically take you in between worlds of the living and worlds of the dead, where Caracas, the villain, is from. That's also another funny story. Caracas basically was cursed, and then he killed the devil and turned him into a chicken. hilarious. There's so many scenarios like that too. Oh man, and there's no voice acting in this. There's some laughing from one of the characters, but there's no voice acting. So it's pretty. The dialogue is just it hits every note perfectly comedically. Yeah, but again, yeah, there were a few parts that frustrated me. I really enjoyed the first 2/3 of the game or so, but after like I'd say the last hour and a half of the game, maybe 2 hours of the game, I was just raging, like, because it's kind of, you're taken from objective to objective and place to place to finally get to Caracas, the, Grand Master. I really like the boss battles and everything, like the boss battles from each of Caracas' henchmen, are great. They're all different, they're all balanced, and the boss battles themselves are never frustrating, but they're always new and fresh, which is great. The problem is that getting to those boss battles is a pain in the ass. The traversing is fine for the first 2/3 of the game, but then it just kind of, you do it again and again and again, and you're traversing, like, you're using the portals, like I said, to go back and forth, and eventually you have the ability to do that, and again, you get even more abilities, like, being able to instantaneously, whenever you want, switch between the world of living and the world of the dead. You can turn into a chicken to access other points. There's tons of stuff. But yeah, that portal ability in particular, and portals around that are just there in particular, become fundamental to the traversing, and it gets a little annoying. I mean, because you have to go up this thing called the Thule tree, which is essentially a really, really tall tree with lots of different levels, and it takes a long time, and then you gotta go over here to this desert, and you gotta go here, and you look at the maps. You look at the map. When you press select, you can see the map, and it's just, your objective, the villain, is so far away. And it got really, really repetitive, where I was just traversing again and again and again. Okay, beat one villain, okay, no, you gotta go to another one. And then, I would do it again and again and fight. The enemies would get more and more difficult, and, the combat was fine. It gets more dynamic as you go through, because you can use the portals, and that's, you have to use the portals to hit some of the enemies, because some of the enemies are simultaneously, as you're fighting some of the enemies, some of them are in the world of the living, and some are in the world of the dead, and you can't hit both at the same time, so you're constantly using your ability to instantaneously go back and forth. You're using that constantly, and that's a great. I mean, like I said, the combat is great, and it is always fresh, and it always feels really fluid and really nice, really fresh, really challenging, and I like that. I just didn't like the fact that you had to do it again and again and again and again, and you going back and forth between that and the really complex traversing, where you have to switch dimensions in the air while you're flying, and then climb on this, but then switch dimensions again, and then jump on this, and then fight enemies while switching dimensions. It's just, it got a little too, it was a little just really, not a little, it was frustrating. And it got really, really frustrating. It took a long time to get to Caracas. Once I got to Caracas, definitely payoff was nice, but again, just getting there, it seemed like they kind of dragged it out unnecessarily, and after a while, the traversing became just frustrating and challenging without being fun, and obviously that's not what you want. But, again, that's the last couple of hours of the game. It's a good chunk of the game, but most of the game, a majority of the game, is great. I definitely don't regret playing it. It's an excellent game. It's one of the best games I've played on Vita so far. There's definitely reasons to go back as well, to collect, to solve the mysteries around the world that you didn't solve, to collect all the treasure chests. Yeah, I mean, and if you weren't able to buy all the abilities, buy the abilities. But you should be able to, I think, through your first run through. But yeah, all in all, Guacamelee, great game. Even if it is frustrating towards the end, it is a terrific game. I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a fun time. And hell, you might have better luck with it than I did towards the end with the traversing. But yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it to everybody. It's really funny, really great combat, really great world. The music as well, which I forgot to mention, is just great. It's It's sort of mariachi style, just awesome sauce. The phrase they use in the game. Love it. I love it. I'm going to give Guacamelee an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, definitely go check it out. I played on the PS Vita. Again, it can be played on PS3, PS Vita. You get cross-buy. Yeah, it's only 15 bucks on the PSN, so I definitely recommend it. This has been Late Great Game Reviews. I'm Apollo. That was Guacamelee. See you guys next week.